Hey guys, it's me. I know that I haven't done an inspirational video in a while, and I also know that it's a different background because I moved again. I'm weird, and this is literally my 5th apartment in LA, and I've only been here a little over 3 years now. I'm weird, but I'll talk about that in another video. Anyway, today I want to talk to you guys about impulse decisions. And when you first hear or say impulse decisions, it kind of sounds like a bad thing, right? Because I mean, it's impulsive, and 9 times out of 10 when you do something that's impulsive, you didn't really think it through, and it just ends up slapping you in the face in some way. But yesterday I was on a flight home and I made a decision that was impulsive, but it was a decision that I knew that needed to be made. And I really started to evaluate life and just all the big decisions I've made from, number one, moving to LA in the first place. Like, that was very impulsive. And then the decision I made yesterday was very impulsive, but I'm not going to talk about that decision until my story unfolds even more. But the point is, I realized that my biggest decisions were always the scariest decisions and the decisions where I needed the most courage. And anytime I made those big decisions, they were impulsive, but ultimately at the end of the day, they were decisions that were planted in my heart so long ago, I was just so afraid to actually make them. So I want you guys to think about a decision that you know in your heart that you were supposed to make a long time ago, and it keeps getting brought up over and over again. You've had just so many signs, and trust me, I get it. When you know in your heart you have to make a life-changing decision, a big decision, it's scary because, one, of course you're going to be afraid of the outcome because it's a life-changing decision. So it's natural to be afraid. We're human. But one thing that I've learned is that the biggest decisions and those impulsive decisions, the biggest decisions for me were made out of impulse. And when I say impulse, I mean that, again, like, it's like I knew over and over again that it was a decision that I needed to make. And usually when you're about to make a big change in your life or a big step, you mentally prepare for that. And the reason I call it an impulse decision is because I knew it was in my heart, but it's like I kind of prepared for it, but I didn't, because in my mind I was trying to prepare for it, but I didn't really think too much into it. But it's just kind of like those impulse decisions came where it's like you knew you had to do it, and then just out of nowhere you impulsively made that decision that you knew you needed to make. That sounds kind of confusing, but I think you get it. But one thing I've learned from, like, impulse decisions, big decisions, life-changing decisions, whatever you want to call it, is that God wants you to make those decisions because it's the right decision. And it's crazy because the decision I made yesterday, again, not going to talk about it right now, but one day I promise that I will. I literally decided it on a plane ride home, and the decision was directly related to something else, and that something else was something that, like, I was waiting on, and then I felt like making this big decision would actually not have the thing I was waiting on actually happen. But then it's weird because usually you find out later why you had to take that leap of faith and make those big decisions. But when I made the big decision, what I was waiting for all that time happened in the time that I was making this decision, or decided to make that decision. And again, I'm sorry for talking in code, but like, I can't speak on it until my story unfolds. But at the end of the day, I want to encourage you guys to make those impulse decisions, because those impulse decisions, as scary as it is, I get it. Like, you don't want to do it because it's like, I don't know what's going to happen. That's really scary, and it's kind of like taking a gamble. But sometimes you just have to roll that dice, and when you roll that dice, all you're going to find out later is that it was nothing at the end of the day. Like, sometimes the thing that you're waiting for or waiting on, you're not even really waiting on it, because at the end of the day, it's just really God waiting to see if you have enough faith to take that leap and make that decision that you're so scared to make. Because really, that scary decision you don't want to make is the key to unlocking the thing that you've been waiting and praying for. And I'm telling you, it's just happened to me one too many times for me to just not believe like that's what's going to happen. So I just, from now on, like, it's weird because ever since I made that decision to move to LA, it's like I had that same feeling. And then that feeling I get when I know I have to make that big decision, it's like my heart races. I contemplate every possible scenario that's going to come out of that decision, whether it's good or bad. I go back and forth. I pray about it. I'm like, should I do it? Should I not do it? And I just start freaking out. But it's like, again, it's happened to me so many times that from now on, when I start feeling those feelings that I felt, I'm going to do it because I'm literally like, I could say, okay, well, the two situations I gave you, I'm like 2 for 2 on scary decisions and making those decisions and getting exactly what I wanted. And that's why I'm not scared of impulse decisions anymore, and that's why I'm going to take more of them. And sometimes it just takes that courage to make those scary decisions. But like I said, I know it's not easy. I know it's scary, but I'm telling you, at the end of the day, it is so worth it. And being afraid of the outcome and kind of like delaying taking that step makes it even more exciting when the thing you were so afraid of actually didn't happen, and the thing that you were praying for actually happened in return. And it builds your faith, it gives you courage, and it just really just makes you, it's confirmation that really, like, God always has your back. And one thing I do want to add before I go is that, you know, we do have control over our actions and what we want to do in life. God gave us that free will, but at the end of the day, God's going to have his way. So whatever decision that is that you've been thinking about all throughout this video that you're so afraid to make, you're going to end up having to make that decision like one way or another, because that decision factors in to God's plan for your life. And you can either just sit there and be afraid and just keep delaying it, but what's the point if eventually it's just going to come to pass? So whatever decision it is that you're so afraid to make, I just promise you, if you make it, it's not going to be bad. It's going to be positive, and it's going to make you so happy and just take you to that next level of life that you just have been wanting to reach for so long. So just stop delaying it, have the courage, and just roll that dice and go, because I promise the outcome of it is just so worth everything that you're afraid of.